Yeah, they tell you that you should quit trying. You were too small and you were too young. They tell you the chance is too slim, the world is too big, but you say how come? I'm ready to light a new fire, raise a new flag across a new sea. And if I'm ever the one in your way, then put your head down and run right through me. I keep settling for so much less. Don't take what's given, just demand what's next. So we didn't see before, so we can get out of here. Plot twist that we didn't see coming. We're looking for an open door, so we didn't see before. How will we get out of here? Well, no, we'll never stop running. It's something like a shadow in the valley, colossal. Open up your eyes, young one, and be watchful. Behind closed doors, trying to write a new gospel. They are not God, they're not even apostles. I come with the dumb drum banging you breathless. Enemies freeze, left bent and defenseless. Straight for the chest of anybody against us. The more they resist it, the more that they tempt us. I keep settling for so much less. Don't take what's given, just demand what's next.
Okay. I cannot believe how hot it is outside. I'm gonna turn the music down. Give me just a second. Oh my god. It is, it's very hot outside. And I just had to go get my dog, from the outside, so. Ugh. Alright, y'all. Let's see. Alright, we're gonna pray to God that my frames do not drop in this stream. They really shouldn't. Things should be okay, honestly, for the time being, but we'll see. Let's catch up, y'all. I know I haven't streamed in a very long time. I'm finally healthy. I think you guys have been seeing the videos, and I appreciate all the support with the videos. It truly means a ton to see that you guys are still watching my videos. Even though I haven't uploaded a video in like 8 months, and the support's still there, so I truly do appreciate everything. But yeah, we got some stuff to catch up on, because as draft day is, there's always constant news. And Casey Johnson just randomly dropped this bomb on us today. And we're just like, hey, wow, are changes actually going to be coming to the Bulls this season? Which is shocking. But I don't really think this means that, hey, DeMar DeRozan is officially gone, but all I'm saying is that at least it seems like we're heading in that direction, which is something that I'm happy about, because I think it's just necessary for this team to be moving on from DeRozan. What's going on, y'all? How you doing? Hold on, I'm gonna pop out chat so I can see you guys better. Actually, I'm just gonna bring chat over to here, because it'll just be easier for me. How you doing, Calvin? Welcome back, thank you. What's going on, Skokes? Hey, MC Season, yeah. Alright. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this sort of stuff, but before I get into all this and explain everything, because I've been kind of crunching numbers with this sort of deal. Just to make it clear, this is not going to be that long of a stream. I am streaming just until 6 p.m. only. I always do draft day with my friend David, who's been on this channel before. You guys saw me and David do draft day last year, so I'm not going to be doing I'm not going to be streaming during the draft, because that is something, one, it's hard to do and keep up with, because there's always a little bit of lag, but yeah, it's also just a lot of info coming in all at once, so I'm gonna go enjoy that with my friend. But I gave us an hour to kind of go ahead and kind of just like look around and like what are we thinking for this draft for this Bulls team. I do have a question to kind of give you guys to convince me on something, and then also just the rest of the NBA news that we're kind of catching up on. So as I have this up here on the screen, because we have Casey Johnson just randomly dropping this bomb us during the day. But yeah, first things first though. I want to talk about this. So I don't know how many of you guys seen my video that I put out today, but I kind of gave my thoughts on who I think are the best people the Bulls should be picking, who I think the front office is probably targeting in the draft today, and then who are guys that I want the Bulls to stay away from. So just to quickly recap that video, I think the Bulls, they're trying their best to try to get Cody Williams tonight. It just makes sense. The front office has been very much drafting guys on their physical tools, and then they're like, okay, we'll figure out the rest later. Like, if you're a long athletic wing or a long versatile player, you may not be able to shoot the ball, but we're just going to figure it out later. We'll just draft you now, and we'll see how you develop. If you look at the picks of Patrick Williams, Dalen Terry, and Julian Phillips, that's how this front office is kind of gone with their picks. I'm aware of Ayo Dosunmu and Marko Simonovic. I'm aware of those two picks, but those don't really count. And we don't talk about Simonovic in the end. But even Dosunmu kind of falls into that category of versatility. But Cody Williams, in my opinion, that kind of falls into that category. I think the front office is going to do whatever they can to try to get him. I don't know if that means trading up, but I think they're just going to really hope that he does fall to 11. And if he is there, I expect the front office to take him tonight. The other guy is Saloon. I don't know if I'm saying this guy's name right. He keeps like moving up the draft board, so I'm going to probably guess that the Bulls don't have a chance of getting him tonight. But he would be the other type of guy. He's very similar to Cody Williams, or, you know, a long athletic wing that everyone sees the potential, but, you know, we're kind of up in the air about his actual abilities. So those are the two guys I think the front office is really targeting tonight. The two guys that I really want the Bulls to pick tonight. The first one is Ron Holland, and I think there's a legitimate chance the Bulls get a chance to pick Ron Holland tonight. I'm hoping that he does fall to 11. We'll see though. The other guy is Carlton Carrington. I think that his shooting ability will be very helpful immediately, and he's a pretty decent defender and has pretty good size for a guard. I'm aware that he is not a good finisher at the rim, but I think that's something that could be worked on as he gets stronger. And then the third guy would be Isaiah Collier. I think that'd be another guard if he happens to be like they think the best guard available, then I'm fine with that as well. So those are my three guys I'm kind of looking at, but I'm really honing in on two, which is Ron Holland and Carrington. Now, the guys that I want to stay away from, I said the first guy was Devin Carter, and I'll explain why in a second, and I want you guys to convince me why the Bulls should draft Devin Carter, because I see a lot of Devin Carter fans right now on Twitter and also in my YouTube comments. The other guy, I was like, hey, let's not draft him, is Zach Edey, if I'm saying that correctly, or Edey. I don't want him at all. It doesn't make any sense, in my opinion, to draft him. And if you look at those two guys I mentioned, they're both upperclassmen. I want to draft a guy based off potential, especially with the 11th overall pick. To me, it doesn't make any sense to be drafting someone based off of their current state of play, and there is no reason to be drafting based off need for this team. I would much rather be drafting based off potential with the 11th overall pick. You know, if in the second round, if you're just drafting, you know, based off best player of like how good they are currently, that's fine. But not with the lottery pick. You shouldn't be really thinking that way. So it's those two guys that I'm like, please don't draft those two guys, because Carter's already a junior. I don't think he's gonna get much better. And Eddie is obviously a senior. But then the other guy, as much as it would be cool to see, I do not want the Bulls to be drafting Terrence Shannon, because he is a senior, and I also just don't really know how much better he's going to get. So that's that. But I have given you why I think specific players should be drafted, why I don't want specific players drafted. But now it's your guys' turn right now, because I see a bunch of people supporting this. But convince me right now why you think Devin Carter should be drafted by the Bulls tonight. Because to me, this doesn't make any sense. Because I don't really personally see the upside. I'm just personally just that way. But I'm just saying that this Bulls team with the 11th overall pick should not be drafting based off of how good the player is currently. They need to be drafting with potential ideas. With potential in mind, I should say. So yeah, I just want to hear it. What's going on, Patrick? How you doing? Dalton, Necht is there, but there's like no chance. Oh, I mean, yeah, I don't know, honestly. He could be there. And just saying, Patrick, you're gonna know more than me about these prospects. I've been very clear, like I do not know very much about the prospects coming into this draft. So, is Terrence Shannon Jr. available for this draft? He is. Yes, he is projected to go late first round currently. Laugh it. I'm gonna say they somehow pick up Terrence Shannon Jr. They might as well bring Kevin Porter Jr. Oh my god. Yeah, that's look, so Terrence Shannon Jr. just saying he was cleared of all of his stuff. So I'm you know, I have no issues with him off the court whatsoever. And by the way, I'm the same way with Giddey with the off the court stuff. I just had to make it clear in my initial reaction video of like that's something that was on my mind still. And I'm just saying right now, like all the off the court stuff, it's gone from my brain. I'm not gonna be talking about that when it comes to Giddey. And same thing with Terrence Shannon Jr. He should be completely fine. I hate the idea of drafting Carter. I also just don't like it. So here's what people are telling me a lot with Devin Carter, or at least what I've been reading, and what I've also seen from people in the YouTube comments talking about this. So I think a lot of people like Devin Carter because the NBA comparison they've given him is Ayo Dosunmu, and I'm like, well, okay, I can kind of see it. Ayo was also a junior coming into when he was drafted, but to me, they're just different. Like I when I watched Devin Carter in his very little film that I've gotten to watch, I didn't watch like full games of him, but when I did watch him, like he relies a lot on his jump shot, which has improved. But when I think of Ayo, I think of Ayo's finishing ability at the rim. Like I don't think of Ayo Dosunmu as like this like lethal shooter that like heavily relies on his jump shot to score. I think of a slasher that is a really good finisher at the rim for a guard. And Ayo in transition is pretty fast. I think he's gotten really good at taking care of the basketball in transition. And I just think of Ayo as like he's just slashy type player that has worked on his 3-point shot, has a nice mid-range shot. But with Carter, I when I watched him, I'm like, he really relies on his 3-point shot. He's a guy that can come off of down screens and take a catch and shoot three. And I just see the offensive games very different, honestly. I also think that Ayo is probably a better distributor than Carter, but I'm also aware that's college difference. So there's that to be talked about. But then the defensive end, I can kind of see where people are saying the comparison between Ayo and Devin Carter. And this is the reason why people like Devin Carter, because of this comparison. But when I think of Ayo defensively, I think of like a really good defender that gets through screens. When I think of Devin Carter, I see a guy that gets in the passing lanes that like is extremely hyper aggressive and trying to poke balls loose and dive in on the floor and is constantly trying to do anything to hound the ball. And because he isn't that big, and I'm aware that like Ayo and Devin Carter in terms of their size is not that much different, but I just think Ayo seems bigger and has been more proven already. And again, maybe Carter becomes that, but I just don't personally see it. But that's just my opinion. So again, convince me why Devin Carter should be picked. Or potentially in my draft picks. I'm just the same way. Yeah, because Devin Carter at 6'3" will be played at center by Billy Donovan, hence solving a center problem. That's very funny, honestly, because Devin Carter is a pretty good rebounder. But yeah. Walter out of Baylor, I think. You're correct. So yeah, Jacoby Walter. I did also look at Jacoby Walter. My only concern with Jacoby Walter, now he looks pretty smooth from what I saw from him. My only concern is that he reminds me a lot of Justin Holiday, like a lot. And I'm just concerned that he's just going to become Justin Holiday 2.0. That's my only concern. But I mean, he's a freshman, so I'm not like too that concerned about it. But I wouldn't mind the Bulls picking him. I wouldn't be upset. I just think Carrington's just a better option personally. Sorry, hold on. I keep losing you guys. Losing chat. Everyone's a potential center candidate for Donovan. Yeah. I would not be shocked if the Bulls tonight they drafted Ron Holland and then they're like, yeah, we're playing him at center next season, just because. Like that would be the most Billy Donovan BS to come out of all this. It's just like, yeah, Ron Holland, who's looking like he's gonna be like an alright forward. Yeah, we're gonna play him at center just because. Stay away from Jared McCain. Also, okay, Patrick, you're gonna have to explain to me about the hype on Jared McCain because I've also seen some people like him, and I don't understand the hype either. The other person that people are talking about suddenly is Rob Dillingham, and he's projected from NBA DraftNet to go 24th. I don't understand that either for the Bulls. Rob Dillingham reminds me a lot of Kemba Walker. And so you're thinking, oh, all-star, but I don't think he's gonna be Kemba Walker. He just plays like Kemba Walker. But this doesn't make any sense to me also, because if you're really drafting based off potential, are you really drafting a 6'2", 165 point guard? 165-pound point guard. It doesn't make much sense to me. Also, he's not good defensively, which, you know, I think you could kind of figure out from this. But I think there's a reason why he's going late first round. Just saying. Meanwhile, this draft is a crapshoot. The best player might be picked anywhere from 10 to 30. I honestly believe that I would not be shocked if the best player is picked like 25th overall in this draft. I will also not be shocked to see that this entire draft is going to be one of the worst shooting draft classes ever. Not a lot of shooting in these draft classes, or from these draft prospects. It honestly seems like if any of these prospects could shoot and they have like pretty good athleticism, they'd be at the top of the board right now. But because a lot of them just have one or the other, it's just kind of like, well, we'll figure it out. You see a lot of lengthy guys, like you see a lot of lengthy forwards in this draft, but they can't really shoot the ball, and there's a lot of questions of their offensive game. Yeah, this is going to be a really weird draft class, and I would not be shocked if the first 5 picks are just going to be nothing. Honestly, I would not be shocked. Will Donovan be gone? Weren't the rumors of him getting fired? No. Unfortunately, there are no rumors of Billy Donovan getting fired. I personally don't think he's the right coach for this team moving forward, especially because we're going to take a step back here. But no, there's no rumors of him getting fired. The Bulls seem pretty much like everything's set in stone except for their other assistant coaches that have all left. What do you think about Bronny? I think he's going to the Lakers at the 55th overall pick, and he is just going to be something, but not that good of a player, honestly. I can see if Bronny really takes it like serious, and teams look at him as like an actual role player instead of like, oh my god, it's LeBron James' son, he's going to be the next star. And he has the right people surrounding him, which he should, because LeBron. I think Bronny can turn into like an okay role player in this league. I don't see him ever really becoming a starter in this league. But I could be very wrong about that, honestly. But we all know that he won't be LeBron James. But I don't really think he'll ever be anywhere close to starting level. And the reason why is, 1, history, but 2, just looking at what I've seen from Bronny, he isn't really much of anything. But 55th overall pick, or sorry, 56th overall pick, I guess. Yeah. Yes. So, we'll see. I don't really have much faith in him, honestly. But, we'll see what happens. Sorry, I thought it was 55th overall, but I guess it's 56th. Okay, last chance here, because I do want to talk about some of the other stuff here. We'll get to Mikal Bridges in a second here, but last chance on trying to convince me that the Bulls should draft Devin Carter. Just last chance here. I'm willing to listen. I want to hear from you guys that think Devin Carter's a good pick. If you do, let me know why. I've also, if you don't like Ron Holland, tell me why you don't like him. I'm also interested to hear that. So just let me know. Last chance here before we move on to talking about the DeRozan news and then talking about Mikal Bridges. All right. I'm gonna say that's we're not gonna be talking about that then. Okay. So I started off with this on the screen. Okay, hold on. Let's just check this. Okay. Well, OG Anunoby is on a massive contract to return to the Knicks, which the Knicks should have done immediately, which they did a good job of bringing him back. So good job by the Knicks and getting OG back. All right. I'll talk about that in just a second. So this news dropped from Casey Johnson today. I am a little bit interested to hear your guys' thoughts on this. Yeah. Lemon is damn near a lottery pick. I feel like we can get somebody good. I mean, I also think we could get somebody decent, but I'm just like, again, we got to draft based off potential here. So, who knows? I think we need a guy that can shoot. Carter being 22 years old is tough. Yeah, I that's the reason why I'm not that high on Carter. Age is a big thing. So no Ron Holland. Okay, I understand that. I just think that if you're drafting based off need, you're not doing things correctly. At least that's just the way that I've always done drafts, is always just draft based off of potential. Especially if you have a lottery pick. I'm aware, though, that it's like there is that fine line of like, hey, he will never be a good shooter because of his current stats. And then also, hey, he could become a good shooter. We'll take the risk on him, right? But at least what I've seen from Ron Holland, I think that when I think of guys that could do multiple things, Ron Holland is one of those guys. I think his basketball dribble is pretty solid already for a forward, and I think defensively he could do all things, including guard 1 through 4, and help defense is really solid. I'm aware shooting is not look good, but that's kind of a guy that I'm willing to take the risk on because, one, I think his shot form looks really solid, and I don't really have any issues with it. But two, I think that if that's the last thing that's going to come out of Ron Holland is his shooting, the Bulls, I think, are still in a good position. Because then I think you've drafted already a really solid looking forward for your future. That could be like your next Mikal Bridges or next OG Anunoby or, etc. in terms of the forward spot. So that's just the reason why that I think it's a good idea. But I understand your thinking. But I don't ever draft based off of what the team needs. I always draft based off potential, especially in the lottery. Yeah. You are definitely leaving the Bulls since the Bulls won't be contending anytime soon with Caruso, got many other Bulls leaving too. See, I thought the same thing, El Trapo, but I honestly don't think that's the case. I think the reason why he's looking at leaving now is because the Bulls are not giving him that $40 million annually. If Arturas Karnisovas and Mark Eversley went to him right now and gave him the 3-year, $120 million contract he was looking for, he'd be signing up with the Bulls immediately. I actually think the money was a big thing for DeMar DeRozan in this. So I personally I don't think he was necessarily all about the situation, but I am happy if this is the case where DeRozan is actually he's really thinking about going to the Clippers here. I'm just happy that the Bulls didn't bid against themselves finally, because they did that for the Vooch contract. I don't really think there's a team that's going to give him a 3-year, $60 million, but yet they gave it to him. And there's no reason to do that with DeMar DeRozan. As good as DeMar has been for this Bulls team, we do not need to be giving him $40 million annually. It just isn't a thing that we really need to do. So, I just think personally that it wasn't just about the situation. I think money was a big factor. And I think right now, as we currently stand, DeRozan's not getting that major contract extension that he wanted. And maybe he even just wanted a 2-year guaranteed $80 million deal. But that's still $40 million annually for a 35-year-old DeMar DeRozan. That just isn't worth it for the Bulls. So, yeah. Interesting to watch the Clippers team, but they are probably first round exit. So, yeah, this is assuming that, as Casey Johnson said, that Paul George is going somewhere else, which there's a lot of talk about him going to Golden State, which I wouldn't mind personally. I don't know if that's the best move for Golden State, but it'd be a nice move. Obviously, you're replacing Klay Thompson with Paul George in that sense. So Paul George would go to Golden State, and then that would require a sign-in trade from the Clippers to send Paul George over to Golden State. The Warriors would acquire Paul George via sign-in trade, and so I don't know what goes back to the Clippers, but it'd be like Chris Paul and something else. Maybe it's not even Chris Paul. Maybe it's like Andrew Wiggins and Moses Moody, and maybe something else to fill the salary, and they get it done. But then what would happen is the Bulls would, if DeRozan seriously wanted to go to the Clippers, assuming that he does not get $40 million from the Clippers, then I think the Bulls have a pretty good opportunity to actually do something in terms of a sign and trade. So let me show you. I'm not fully up to date with the whole apron rules stuff, but it's very hard for me to kind of get all that down. But basically, the idea would be is you sign the Clippers would sign DeRozan to maybe $25 million a year for a 3-year contract, and the trade would just be almost straight up. It'd be Norman Powell for DeMar DeRozan, and then throw in someone else if necessary. That would be the trade. The Bulls would then obviously look to flip Norman Powell pretty much immediately, and I think it'd be not too hard to flip him, honestly. So yeah, that's what I think the trade would be personally, and I think it's a legit possibility, and I'm very interested to see if that actually does happen. We need that aggressive center, and we'll also pick up Carter. I disagree, Zayover. I'm not really that big on Carter, but yeah. I think it's the right draft to get a center. I also agree with that. The money was a big thing for DeMar the first time too, when we were outbidding ourselves to get him. Yeah, that is also, in a sense, true. I do think that the Bulls were I'm aware that everyone keeps talking about the Clippers and Lakers didn't have any money, but the way that I still think though that there could have been a sign and trade still possible between those teams. But yeah, the Bulls were definitely outbidding themselves. DeMar resigns, we better be competing. If DeMar resigns, I'm just gonna be livid. I just don't understand it from, even if the Bulls are actually trying to compete, it just doesn't make any sense, because you just got Josh Giddey now, so you already have one non-shooter on your perimeter. DeMar DeRozan doesn't help with that if you bring him in. So even if you're trying to compete, it doesn't make any sense. And you've obviously committed to Josh Giddey because you just give Alex Caruso for him, which I don't even want to talk about how upset I am that the Bulls didn't get picks out of that trade. But it just doesn't make any sense. So why would the Bulls go ahead and re-sign DeMar DeRozan then? And which the fact that they're even still considering it is upsetting to me. But if the Bulls are truly hitting the reset button, which they should be, then there's absolutely no reason to bring DeMar DeRozan back. If you can get something for him, fantastic, awesome. But I'm not really too worried about it. I would much rather just let him walk than try to bring him back and then try to trade him in a week or a week before the trade deadline. Channel has better commentary than most. I appreciate it. I'm a coward. I think you're new here. I'm not familiar with that name. But welcome in. Is PG-13 an unrestricted free agent, or does he have some options? So PG-13 is he is a player option. So as you can see here, this he has his player option. It's under the green. There is some rumors that he might just accept the player option and then just get sent off somewhere else. That's a possibility. But it sounds like he's being offered a max contract in free agency by multiple teams. So I think he's just going to decline it, and he'll figure out the sign and trade details later. Man, not gonna lie, I wanted CP3 to get a ring out of this league. I did too, but it's just not gonna happen. OG is signing. Magugla, thank you for actually typing that in, because we gotta talk about that. So yeah, Woj did tweet out that OG Anunoby signed this 5-year, $212 million contract to return to the New York Knicks, which was a very, very good decision by the Knicks. So good job by them. That trade to get Mikal Bridges was crazy last night, and the Knicks have officially are all in. They're all in on this team, which I'm happy for. It is the Nova Knicks, which is very funny. But I mean, now that this is the team, I mean, I'm thinking of it's Brunson, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, Julius Randle, and then they got to figure out their center's position, because it seems like Isaiah Hartenstein is probably going to be leaving for somewhere else, because the Knicks only signed him to a 2-year contract, so they only have early bird rights on him, so they can't really re-sign him that easily. So I'm interested to see who the center is going to be for the Knicks. It's probably going to be Mitchell Robinson for the time being, but yeah, that Mikal Bridges trade last night, the amount of picks that New York gave up is insane. But I'm also aware that they still have like 5 first-round picks that they can still use, if I'm not mistaken. So it's real GM. Let's see. So with the updated stats now for New York. So yeah, I mean, they still have a decent chunk of picks, unless this has not been updated. Actually, this might not be updated. This might not be updated, actually. But the Knicks still have like a decent chunk of picks left over still, so it's not the worst thing in the world for them. I'm shocked that that's how many picks Mikal Bridges was being traded for. That didn't make much sense to me, but I'm happy for the Nets because they've officially gotten a lot back for the Kevin Durant trade. And they finally went away from trying to build around Mikal Bridges, which was not a good idea. And that Knicks team, I mean, they were the 2 seed this past season. They better be at least a 2 seed this next season, or a 3 seed, or just be up there and getting into the Eastern Conference Finals, actually, because that's a team that is built to try to contend with Boston. And Boston is going to bring back everybody from this past season. So, yeah. Oh, you're talking about Norman Powell scopes? Yeah, we'll see. These guys getting overpaid this year. Al Trapo, I'm gonna be real. I don't think that's an overpay for OG Anunoby. That's not a max contract, by the way. I know that's like, well, that's Zach LaVine max contract. Well, that's not a max contract anymore. So basically, you signed OG Anunoby to less than a max contract. So that's not an overpay in my opinion. OG Anunoby is a very solid player in this league. You gotta pay guys. So to me, this is not an overpay for the Knicks, and this was very necessary for them to go out and re-sign OG Anunoby after that Mikal Bridges trade. You could not lose OG Anunoby after you gave up all those picks for Mikal Bridges, and they went on to just that. So good on them. I think the Knicks have done a fantastic job with this. Leo, Holland, or Cody got to be your best option. I love it. What do you think? Out of all those players, I think I personally like Ron Holland most. I think Cody is the player that the front office is probably going to target the most this draft, but we'll see. That's just my guess because of how the front office is drafted so far in their tenure. So yeah, DeMar should be on a sign-in trade, so the team getting him retains bird rights and both get a second out of it. Yeah, I agree with you. I completely agree with you. But sign-in trades are much harder now with the new the first apron and second apron rules in the new CBA. So yeah, I'm interested to see. Yeah, but DeMar to the Clippers. I hope it happens just so we can officially move on from the DeRozan era. But we'll see. We'll actually see though if that actually does happen. Sorry if you hear the dogs. I do apologize. Okay, where were they? All right, we're at 5:30. Good. What do you think of the rumors that we trade Io to get rid of Zach? So I have seen those rumors a ton. It makes no sense in my opinion. The only one that makes sense is the Detroit Pistons trade that has been thrown around, which is like the Bulls would get Jaden Ivey, Jalen Duren, and like the 5th overall pick, and the Bulls give up Zach LaVine, Ayo Dosunmu, and the 11th overall pick. It still doesn't fully make sense in my opinion because I think the Bulls should be like, well, we shouldn't be giving up any picks here. So it's the same argument with the Jimmy Butler trade that we did because we gave up the 15th overall pick to get Lauri Markkanen at number 7. If you're rebuilding, you should not be giving up any picks. But that trade at least sort of makes sense. I think if you're the Bulls, you accept it. But for the Pistons, there's no reason to accept that trade. That makes no sense. So So I don't see Io ever getting attached as an asset to try to get Levine's contract off the roster. I'm gonna be real. I'm okay if Zach's here for until the trade deadline, and I'm aware that it's gonna be hard to trade him at the trade deadline still. But I'm still just like, the way that people are acting is if he's still on the roster, and everyone's like, well, we got to tank this year. Well, if you're telling me that Zach LaVine is one of the worst players in terms of winning, which a lot of people say that now, then shouldn't we want him on the team anyway? Because you say that he's not an impactful player, so he should be on the team if we're trying to tank, right? Just saying, which everyone then starts saying, well, no, he's too good of a player, so then he's going to get us out of the lottery, etc., etc., we won't be able to keep our pick. I'm just at the, like, crossroads of, like, okay, you just trade Zach whenever is best, and if you can get some stuff back for him, awesome. I think he's going to rebuild his value if you keep him. And it would also then be one less year off his contract if you keep him until the trade deadline. So I think a team will be more willing to trade for him come the trade deadline, especially because there's just be one less year of his contract that they have to worry about. So I personally think keeping Zach here until the trade deadline is not a bad idea, or even trade him in December, for God's sake. I don't care. Like, if you need to trade him earlier than the trade deadline, awesome. That's fine. Just, if you should not be attaching any assets to try to keep or try to get rid of Zach LaVine's contract if you're actually trying to reset here, especially if it's Io DeSumo. I think that there are potentially trades for Io out there that would be solid, but attaching Io DeSumo or, attaching, Dalen Terry or whatever to get off Zach's contract is just not a good idea whatsoever. Next step that's crazy, but what are they going to do with Julius Randle now? I honestly think they just keep Julius Randle. If they don't, that's not a horrible thing either, but I think they keep him. I think that's a pretty good starting lineup, honestly. That's a crazy amount of picks between the Phoenix trades and the Knicks. Yeah, they do. Yeah. The biggest thing for the Nets is that they got their 2025 pick back. That's the reason why the Nets couldn't rebuild in the first place, is because they traded all their picks away, right? And so... they traded all their picks away to Houston for the Harden deal, right? So for them to rebuild, they couldn't because they didn't have their picks. So they got their 2025 pick back, which is extremely important. So next season for the Nets, they're just going to tank, and they're going to be in for the Cooper Flag sweepstakes now, because now that they have their own, they can control their own destiny. So yeah. Have you done any research on Tyler Smith? He's my personal favorite player in this class, even if he's nowhere near the best. I have not done any research on Tyler Smith. I have heard the name, but I have not done any research. Sorry. I've said that, I don't really know too much about many prospects in this draft, unfortunately. I got to do better for upcoming drafts, because I don't really watch college basketball. I'm all about NBA, and I watched, the MLB too, so... I don't really have a lot of time to watch college basketball, but I unfortunately do not know much. But if you're willing to give me like a summary of Tyler Smith, I'll very happily take it. I'm just prepared to get fleeced in any way possible. Yeah, there's Tim Connolly all along. We got the wrong guy for the Nuggets front office. Yeah, it seems that way for sure. And I don't know how much Mark Eversley has say, so I'm just gonna blame it on both of them. Bulls has the worst front office now that Troy got canned in Motor City. I'll say this about Troy Weavers. Yeah, he definitely did not make some good decisions. That Monty Williams contract was not smart. But if you really think about, and this is hindsight, right? Like, if you think about when Monty Williams was signed, a lot of people were like, hey, this was a fantastic idea. And then we very quickly found out that Monty Williams is not that good of a coach. So... there's that. There are definitely other decisions with the Pistons that have not gone well, but I'm also going to say this, and this is the reason why I'm not full out about tank mode for any team. The Detroit Pistons have gotten the 5th overall pick back-to-back years, if I'm not mistaken, right? So they completely missed out. They couldn't get Wemby, and they also couldn't get Scoot, right? So it's like, well, crap. There goes that. And then they got the 5th overall pick this year. So it kind of sucks because they were the worst team in the NBA, and then they get the 5th overall pick. So how much is that on Troy Weaver? This is the reason why I say like you should never full out tank. I think for the Bulls next season, it is important to keep their pick next season. So be bad enough to keep the 10th or 10th or better pick. That's fine. The Dallas Mavericks also did that, where they intentionally missed out on the play in the play-in. So, and they got Derek Lively out of it. Like that's fine. But I'm talking about straight up going 0-82, and then depending on that to get you the first overall pick. That's a scary idea, because we just saw what the Pistons just went through. They were the worst team in the NBA for multiple seasons, and yet they get the 5th overall pick out of it. So, yeah. It sucks for the Pistons fans, and obviously for Troy Weaver, for sure. I'm going to assume that you don't think it's worth trading up in the draft by sending Zach, if that's even possible. I kind of feel the same way. For sure. I think trading up in this draft makes no sense. I honestly do not see any reason why to trade up in this draft. I think this draft is very, very hit or miss, and I don't know who the hits are going to be. We were kind of saying earlier that, like, Fox was saying, like, the best player is going to come, like, late first round out of this draft, which I would not be shocked by. So, I think trading back in this draft, if a team is willing to do so and give you an extra pick out of it, I think that's fine. But trading up makes no sense. Even that includes getting, Zach's contract off. If you're trading the 11th overall pick in Zach LaVine just to get up to the 5th overall slot, and you take back bad contracts, that's just not good enough, in my opinion. It was just reported that PG wants to stay on the West Coast. I wonder if Sixers cave in and trade something on draft night. I don't think they will. But I have seen that Paul George has said he wants to stay West Coast, which is the reason why I think Golden State is a legit possibility here. But yeah. I honestly think that the Sixers, they're not going to be looking to trade for Zach, personally. And I honestly think that they're going to be looking to trade for Jimmy Butler. That'd be my thing. They're going to go ahead and try to trade for Jimmy Butler to bring him back to Philly. Pistons going to draft without a coach? Yeah, seems that way. Man, having number one pick in a year that there's no definite top 3 players must suck. Yeah, I mean, I'm being real. This was one of the drafts where I'm like, I do not want to be up in the top. Like, for the Bulls, it just would not have been that helpful, even if, like, they jumped up into the lottery, which, and it would help, but it wouldn't be like last season, where it's like, if we jumped up, that would be, special, right? But not in this one. This is just one of those, you don't do that. Try to visualize sign a trade to buy for Zach and a couple of second rounders. Well, here's the thing, Box. The 76ers can just straight up absorb Levine's contract without having to send out anything. And they'll still be able to, like, complete the team. So it wouldn't even include Tobias Harris. It'd just be nothing. And just a bunch of second rounders. Tyler Smith was a 6'10" power forward on the Ignite, averaged 13 points per game, shooting 4 threes a game, 36% shooting. He'll pull up and step back threes and would be a solid player if we trade down, in my opinion. Okay, gotcha. Let me look at. So, where is he projected to actually go here? So he's projected to go second round in NBA DraftNet, which mock drafts are everywhere. I mean, we've seen guys that are set to go in the second round go in the lottery in some other drafts, mock drafts. So, okay. Yeah, so now I'm remembering Tyler Smith now because I was watching Buzelis and Ron Howland's their highlights, and so I heard the name Tyler Smith. Okay, yeah, pretty good size, and obviously you talked about his shooting already. Yeah, trading again. If we trade back and this is someone that we pick up, wouldn't mind it. I mean, 19, yeah, sounds pretty alright. I'd have to go look at his film though to give you like a legit response here, but. Doesn't sound too bad of an idea if we do trade back and we pick him up, but I don't think the Bulls are going to be trading back tonight, personally. Nick Hammond should be banned for trading with Presti, Brad Stevens, or more. I mean, yeah. Karnisovas has lost on so many negotiations, and it's not even just with other general managers or president of basketball operations. He's lost negotiations with the players that he signs. He lost the negotiations with Nikola Vucevic, so he signed Vucevic to a 3-year contract that goes up every single season, and it's fully guaranteed. He lost negotiations with Drummond and Torrey Craig when he signed them to 2-year contracts, but they they allowed both those players to get the player option, which it seems like Torrey Craig's going to decline his player option, but that's still, you're losing the negotiation in that whole thing. It's just bad. Like, he hasn't won a single negotiation so far, at least in my opinion. And you can argue with about other stuff, but yeah. Also banned for trading with Connolly too. Yeah, don't trade with anybody. Honestly, well, honestly, I'm being joking. Like, we need Connor Showers to actually talk to everybody. So, yeah. Ty Smith, anything like Jalen Smith? Yeah, that's actually a good question. Outside of Palika too. I mean, look, we need Connor Showers to actually make moves. So, like, I'm not gonna ban him from trading with anybody. But I mean, that in an ideal world, he isn't trading with anyone, honestly. The one good trade was the one we got Javonte Green. Even that trade, I think he lost, and I was wrong. Like, I'll even admit this. I said that at the time that was a really good trade because I thought Troy Brown would turn into something, and I thought Javonte was going to be a really solid role player. I also said that Daniel Gafford would never be a starter in this league, and I was completely wrong about that. So he even lost out on that trade where he got Javonte Green. I was completely wrong with Daniel Gafford. I thought Daniel Gafford would never be a starter in this league because he picked up way too many fouls and just seemed way too inconsistent. But he turns out to be on the starting lineup for a Dallas Mavericks team in the NBA Finals. So I was just completely wrong. But still, AK got that one wrong too. So yeah, it's just inexcusable with some of the stuff that he messed up. All right, we have about 15-ish minutes before I do have to go, and I'm going to be talking with my friend David. So, for all you people, I'm not ending stream yet, but I see that we have a ton of viewers in here, and I'm sure a lot of you are new. So, just want to say thank you guys so much for all the support with the recent videos. Thank you to the community for supporting me, and you know, letting me heal. I've been kind of dealing with a lot of health issues, so I'm back to being healthy, so I'm hoping to continue giving you guys content, and I just want to say thank you guys so much. If you guys could leave a like on the stream, it would help me out a ton. Truly helps me out if you could do that. And we're almost at 1,000 subscribers, y'all. We're less than 20 away, so we're almost there. I truly appreciate you guys' support with getting all the subscribers, and we're building a nice community here. So thank you guys for joining. I mean, let's see. Preston really wanted AC. He had to talk with Giddey, or more or less Giddey wanted out. Managed to not get a single pick when we had leverage. I mean, just ban. Yeah, that's fair. Maybe don't talk with Sam Presti at the end of the day. My only thing is that maybe the Oklahoma City Thunder want Patrick Williams, and so we sign and trade Patrick Williams to the Thunder. Yeah, the one thing that I don't understand what people like, because I could go on a full out rant about the AC trade. When I initially saw the trade, I'm just like, okay. You know, Giddey off the court stuff. I'm gonna try to remove that from my mind, but it's like it's very meh. When I heard about getting Josh Giddey, and I understood though that if some people loved it because it was like, well, you're getting Josh Giddey, who people people think he has all-star potential, which I don't know if that's really true or not. But we'll see. But then in my head, I was like, okay, we definitely got picks out of this, right? Like, there's no shot that we just traded one of the best defensive guards in the league and we didn't at least get any seconds out of it, right? Like at least some seconds. Like, I'm not even asking for a first. I'm just asking for some picks, okay? And yet we didn't get anything out of it, which makes no sense to me. And the people that are saying, like, well, what else would the Bulls have gotten? We didn't need to trade AC that day. Like, AC is under contract for this season, and I think trading him before the season started is a good idea because he could definitely get injured. But the people that are telling me that this is the best you could get for AC, I just disagree. I'm not in you know, the front office, but there were going to be a ton of teams trying to get a AC this offseason, and I honestly think you could have started a legit bidding war between all these teams and be like, hey, well, this team's offering me a player, a first-round pick in 2 seconds. What do you got to give me? Like, I think you could have done that, but it seems like AK was so hell-bent on getting Giddey, and he valued Giddey at such a high level that he was like, yeah, I'm willing to trade my premier asset just to get Josh Giddey. and not get any picks out of it. Which, by the way, we're trying to reset here, and we don't have a second round pick until who knows when. So yeah, I'm fine without the picks. Like, what? That doesn't make any sense. And it's just so frustrating that when I hear people talk about, like, well, AC is just a role player, and I started to understand the argument initially, but then I'm like, wait a minute, no. We're talking about a guy who plays starting level minutes with the Bulls, and yes, he'll go and be mostly a bench player with the Thunder, but he played 28 minutes per game last season. He started 50 plus games last season. And we're talking about a guy that has made the all NBA defensive teams multiple years in a row. This isn't just a random role player or like a solid role player. This is the premier role player in the league. And by the way, he's on a pretty cheap contract too. So you're not going to have to be worried about him getting paid or having to pay too much of money for him and take up too much of the salary cap. He is the premier role player. And yet, we only got Josh Giddey out of it. And sure, you might think Josh Giddey might have all-star potential, but that doesn't allow the front office just to only get Josh Giddey out of AC. That doesn't give the front office any sort of passes here. You should have gotten more for one of your premier assets. And again, I'm not even saying first round pick. I'm just saying you should have at least gotten like 2 seconds out of it or 3 seconds out of it. I'm not asking for a first. I'm aware he's on the last year of his contract, but it just doesn't make any sense. You're trading the premier role player in the league. And you get just Josh Giddey out of it, who, by the way, is also on his last year of his contract, and the Bulls have to pay him this offseason, this upcoming offseason. So, it just doesn't make any sense. Basically, Ben Simmons thought the defense, athleticism, and injuries. I disagree with that, personally. I do think that Josh Giddey, he has more in a sense of that I think that he can legitimately dribble the ball and not, be like Ben Simmons where he just won't attack the basket. Like, at least, like, Ben Simmons just, like, the last time we watched him play, he just wouldn't attack the basket. He was afraid to go shoot free throws. Like, I'm not going to put Josh Giddey at that level. I think Giddey's passing is arguably better than Ben Simmons, but what I think people don't understand is that the argument that for Giddey saying that, oh, we have a true point guard now, makes no sense. In today's NBA, your playmaker or the main distributor on your team, you want them to be a big scorer and also the playmaker. You do not want the whole, true point guard, pass first point guard to have the ball in their hands all the time. Now, I'm not asking for Josh Giddey to suddenly become a 30-point per game scorer, but he can't be averaging 17 and then saying, oh, I'm a pass first point guard, I'm going to get everyone involved and try to run the offense and everything. Because it just, at the end of the day, it's not worth putting the ball in his hands if he's just like a 16-point per game scorer on not great efficiency and can't shoot threes, right? That just doesn't make any sense. I make the video about Josh Giddey breaking him down to show him strengths that where I think the Bulls can use him. And I've also made that video to show you that he has a long way to go. Because in my opinion, for it to be worth it to put the ball in his hands, he has to be at least a 20-point per game scorer. Minimum. And then you can have the ball in your hands and actually run an offense. And I have doubts. I'm going to be real. I have doubts that that's ever going to happen. Can it happen? For sure. Because Giddey did average 16 points per game in his sophomore season, and if he truly does work on his three-point shot, then yeah, I think he can get there. But it's not just his three-point shot. He has to be a much better finisher for a guy at 6'8". He has to be much better off the dribble, and he has to be willing to take threes and knock them down, especially off the dribble, which he doesn't do that in the first place. So I'm just concerned, honestly, about the whole idea of him becoming an all-star type player. I think the trade itself is saying the Bulls are heading in the right direction as a team, but saying that, yeah, he's going to be a for sure all-star is interesting. And it's very funny seeing how there's a bunch of Zach LaVine haters that were like, oh my god, this Giddey trade was fantastic. We got a guy that can actually pass the ball for once, and he's going to run the offense and average 20 plus per game. I'm like, no, we didn't get that just yet. We don't know if we're going to get that. And sure, he could become that, but like, I'd be shocked if Josh Giddey shoots better than 33% from three-point range this upcoming season. That would be a true, like, shocker to me. I don't know with AK. I think his one redeeming quality is his drafting. Trinity power misses, but I was really good. I think Julian Phillips has some serious potential. Razi, should I remind you about Marko Simonovic? And yeah, we're not sure about Dalen Terry yet. And I agree with you that Julian Phillips has some potential, but that's not enough track record for me to say yeah, AK is like a good drafter just yet. At least in my opinion. They never could have and should have gotten more offers for sure. I mean, the Kings were willing to give you the 13th overall pick, which would I rather have the 13th overall pick in this year's draft or Josh Giddey? I would rather have Josh Giddey. But that at least shows you like, hey, you have teams that are willing to give you some picks here. How can you make this into a bidding war and trade them, you know, in the middle of July instead of the middle of June? But yeah, Giddey fixed the AK box. He's tall, dude. Although Super T-Rex arms, he usually likes them long that can't shoot. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Like, AK is basically betting on all these guys that are tall, lengthy, and versatile to become good shooters, just randomly. Oh, wow. Did we actually get a trade? I didn't even see that. I appreciate that, Razi. So what do we got? Oh, let me go here. Wizards are trading Denny Avdija to the Portland Trail Blazers for Malcolm Brogdon and the 14th pick tonight and a 2029 pick. Oh, wow, okay. I don't know why Portland did that. At least that's my initial reaction. I think if you're the Wizards, this is a win. Personally. Because I can go ahead and flip Brogdon for basically like second or something. And I got the 14th overall pick tonight and 2029 pick, which I guess we'll have to see what this is. If that's a second round pick, then it's not. It's kind of even, I guess. But if that's a first round pick, that's worth it. I think if you're Washington, at least it's just my opinion. Giddey shoots mostly top of the key three, so hopefully you can greatly improve on them. So yeah, I mentioned that in my video that Giddey mostly shoots like top of the key or above the break threes, which he needs to change that. He needs to, I think, start shooting more in the corner. So yeah, I'm interested to see where Giddey goes as a player. I've said it more in my comments. I haven't really said it in my videos, but my concern with Giddey is that I don't think he's going to be the best player in a championship level team, and I also don't think he's going to be the second best player in a championship level team. So what is he then? If he can become the third best player in a championship level team, great. But he really better be improving his shooting then. To then try to take advantage of his other aspects. Because, I mean, like, if you think about it, right? Like, Draymond Green was the third best player on the Warriors, right? He doesn't really shoot, but that guy is one of the best defenders we've ever seen. So, and Draymond does similar stuff to Josh Giddey. He rebounds well, he passes well. But he's one of the best defenders we've ever seen. So, Giddey really has to improve his shooting. That's all I'm going to have to say. And then obviously finishing at the rim, which should be just given for a dude that's 6'8". I'm not giving up on him. And for all you Patrick Williams believers that are Josh Giddey sudden haters, which is, I just want to point this out. If you're a Patrick Williams believer and like, well, we shouldn't give up on Pat, he's too young, etc., etc., etc. Well, Giddey's younger than Patrick Williams. And the only reason why I'm bringing this up is just because I think there are still too many Patrick Williams believers in Bulls Nation currently. But yeah, I see a ton of people like, well, Giddey sucks. And I'm like, well, sorry. If you're a Patrick Williams believer, I honestly think you should also be a Giddey believer because your whole argument is his age. And Patrick Williams is 22, Josh Giddey's 21. And I'm aware that P. Will has, you know, defense and 3-and-D potential, but let's be real. Josh Giddey's been a better rebounder than Patrick Williams has ever been in his career. Oh, I'm dropping frames. Oh, crap. Uh-oh. If you guys can still hear me, can you like give a thumbs up emoji in the chat? I don't know if you guys can actually still hear me or not. God, bro, the internet lasted literally until the last minute of the stream, which is very frustrating. Most favorable first round picks in 2029 as well as 2 seconds, Wizards please. I think that's actually a solid trade for the Wizards. Okay, sorry. Oh god, wow. Okay, oh yeah, you cutting it out? Okay, I appreciate it. Oh, okay, wow. Holy crap. Okay. You guys just put the thumbs up emoji now, which I asked for that a minute ago. um All right, I don't know how many guys can hear me right now, but I do appreciate all of you for hanging out with me for the little pre-draft show. We talked about a lot here, but it's almost 6 o'clock, but I'm gonna wait another minute just to see if my frames kind of figure themselves out here, because I'm going back up at the moment. I don't know if you guys can hear me or not. Yeah, this is so frustrating. Okay. Yeah, it's not getting any better. But all right. I don't know how much you guys can hear me or what the YouTube stream is gonna get. But I just want to say thank you for hanging out with me tonight. I did leave in the chat section just my thank you if you guys can hear me at the moment. But if you do hear me, please leave a like on the stream. Helps me out a ton. Welcome into all the new people in the community. Thank you for all the support on the most recent videos. And I will be obviously doing some draft stuff, whatever the Bulls actually end up doing here in the draft, which I think they'll use their 11th overall pick. So we'll see what they do. But that is going to be on the stream. I'm sorry about this whole drop frame stuff. This is really making me upset. But I do appreciate you all hanging out with me tonight, and I'm going to go ahead and sign off for now. Oh, wow, look at that. We just got back to being better frames as I'm about to sign off. Woohoo. All right. That makes you hear loud and clear. Yeah. Oh my god, bro, that's so frustrating. I'm about to sign off now, and it just cleared up. All right. All right. One more time. I want to say thank you guys for hanging out with me tonight. I am going to be going and ending stream because I'm going to be watching the draft with my friend, and I want to go and hang out with him now. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me tonight. Please leave a like on the stream before you guys leave. Helps me out a ton. And I just want to say thank you so much for all the support on the videos, the most recent videos. It means a ton from me. It means a ton for me to see all the views and all the support coming from the community. So it really means a lot. I'm sorry about the internet. This is making me very upset at the moment about the whole internet. But you know, it is what it is. But let's see what the Bulls do, and I'll have more draft coverage or draft content for you guys with whatever the Bulls decide to do, whether that's trade or make a selection with the 11th overall pick. I'm hoping for Ron Holland tonight, personally. That's just me. So we'll see who the Bulls actually get, though. All right, y'all. Peace out. Let's see what the Bulls do tonight. I don't have much faith in AK, but let's see what they do. Peace out, y'all.